You never get a second chance to make a good first impression. Acura knows this, and that is just what's behind the appearance of this sporty looking machine, which is their all-new third generation RDX crossover. Let's take a spin. The latest RDX is a fresh face in a sea of familiar premium crossover faces, and this mid-range A-Spec model specifically adds sporty, high-contrast touches with black accents and wheels that seem to pop against this white paint job. It's authentically sporty looking and whipped up with a good price and some targeted A-Spec upgrades that zero in on the enthusiast driver. I love that the exhaust pipes are real, not cheesy decorations glued to the bumper, and those aerodynamic slits that let you see clean through parts of the fascia. This one turns heads in traffic, and that's a relatively new thing for Acura crossovers. Heck, this family of adorable ducks even decided to come by for a closer look while we were filming. But on first impressions, this thing really nails it when you first get inside. It's a jungle of stitching and suede and metallic trim and curvaceous detail, all dispatched for an atmosphere that's unique and fresh and distinctive, and unlike almost any other luxury crossover cabin going. And it's dotted with unique shapes and colors and interfaces and textures, slabs of aluminum on the doors, seats with leather and suede and stitching and perforation. Beautiful instrumentation with high-precision laser red needles floating over metal discs. And a drive mode selector, smack in the middle of the center stack, is a signal that this machine is built to flexibly tackle any sort of driving you like. That flows like a high-tech plastic waterfall down into the push-button shifter and the touchpad interface beneath. It's all part of this latest RDX's attempts to advance Acura's presence in one of the hottest market segments, and it no longer looks like it's built to appeal entirely to your sensible side with resale value and safety scores, while the styling was just sort of fine. This new 2-liter 4-cylinder is turbocharged for 272 horsepower and even more torque. The outgoing V6 was smoother and sounded more refined, but I like how this turbo unit barely needs to rev at all to get you moving in traffic, and how it sounds a bit like an old-school VTEC engine with the Honda family snarl coming online when you get it spinning fast. It's not an all-out powerhouse with enough jam to bench press a collapsed universe or anything, but it rips along with pleasing urgency when desired. A 10-speed automatic enhances efficiency and performance, and super handling all-wheel drive enhances traction, even overpowering certain wheels in certain situations to boost performance and balance and friskiness. You control it all from this dial. Twist to pick the mode you like, comfort for a relaxing drive, sport or sport plus for added thrills and easier access to the performance, or snow for added confidence when traction is scarce. You can toggle 4 separate personalities on the fly. The ride is tuned for the sporty driver. It's comfortable enough, but there's a definite firmness enabling faster responses to inputs and more stability in high-speed maneuvers. Usually it won't powder your spine, but it's definitely on the athletic side, a good thing for drivers after non-gelatinous cruising and above-average willingness in the handling department. But ride quality does degrade fairly rapidly on rougher roads, and if you're a sports car fan, you'll be familiar and likely okay with the compromise. And when you drive this thing hard, you really feel the benefits. It's not instantly sporty in all situations, but it feels and sounds unbothered, even happy when you really drive the pants off of it. Cruise the highway and it's decent on fuel. Your driving position is commanding but not towering. The ride is a little stiff but not usually uncomfortable. Think sports sedan and you're in the ballpark. Noise levels are kept nicely muted, more so up front than in the rear seats, and in all, it's not the most luxurious tour going, but certainly maintains comfort nicely most of the time given its athletic intentions. Headlights are excellent, the steering is heavy and feels like a go-kart in sport mode, and the highest performing Sport Plus setting sees RDX reward your inner driving enthusiast by largely behaving like a smaller and lighter machine than it is. It's a satisfying performance. In typical Acura fashion, the cabin is optimized for storage of smaller items via bins and cubbies, and there are plenty of charging ports, and this clever opening in the center tunnel looks great and adds even more storage. In back, the cargo hold is wide and flat, has storage hidden beneath, and a handy bin at one corner that's all accessed by a powered tailgate, even though it sounds like Chewbacca when you open it. I'm sure a little squirt of WD-40 somewhere would fix that noise. Front seats are easily entered and exited. Just slide over, down a touch, and you're in. Rear seats are adult friendly. 4 average grown-ups should have no issue with space in here. You won't be stretching out a whole lot, but you won't be chewing your knees either. I'll conclude with the best and worst parts of this machine. Best first. On design, driving pleasure, and a flexibly deployed blend of easy driving comfort and frisky handling and power, RDX hits the mark. It's eager to please, comfortable enough for all-day cruising, luxurious and techy without overdoing it, and if you want a fun-to-drive sports ute that seeks to involve rather than isolate you from the experience of driving it hard, this will solve all of your problems like a packet of Peter Popoff Miracle Spring Water. And the worst part of the RDX is this infotainment system. It looks great, sounds like a PlayStation, and has this nicely arranged touchpad console complete with a built-in wrist pad so your fingers can easily saunter over the controls. You'll figure it out eventually and maybe even appreciate how this interface eliminates the need for dozens of buttons elsewhere. But it's imprecise and clumsy in actual operation, often hard to feel whether you've clicked hard enough to activate something, and you'll often accidentally select the wrong thing and swear. It looks and feels and even sounds pretty cool, but it's just fussy in actual operation until you've put in many hours of practice. Shame, since you have to use it to control so many functions. All said, this loaded up A-Spec version of the RDX proves that Acura is redefining their brand with vehicles that have some great looks and some great moves. And it gives shoppers a very compelling option in a nicely loaded sports-enhanced premium crossover at about $50,000, a price which incidentally barely opens the bidding on a comparable base model BMW or Mercedes. If you can conquer a fussy infotainment system and want something with all the toys and an extra dose of sporty looks and moves and features that won't annihilate your wallet, this should be on your test drive hit list. RDX starts at $44, this A-Spec comes in at $50, and a fully loaded Platinum Elite rings in at $55. Thanks for watching.